What's up, guys? I'm so excited to bring to you literally one of the happiest people I know. She's such an inspiration. I'm so glad that you get to meet her today. And this is Rebecca. What is up?
I'm so excited to be here. I feel like after that introduction, I'm like, oh, my brain's like, must be happy, as if that's not like natural. I'm just like, yeah, I'm so excited. I am actually really buzzed to have this call because it's been a little while for us trying to pin it down. So I'm freaking proud of us, girl.
Yeah, we're doing it. Well, I think what would be really fun to talk about is who you are and what you do and what you're really passionate about, because I love seeing you get really vibed up by all these amazing things that you're doing.
I am just pure energy and joy. that's my state of being, and it took a really freaking long time to get here, but I definitely think that the pillars that got me here were movement and yoga, was nutrition, which is something I know that you vibe so hard with, and we've had lots of chats, with connection as well with other women. Like, that's something that brought us together, certainly, and something that I'm so passionate about. And those are really the three things that are so freaking important to me now, and since making them a really important feature in my life has drastically changed. And I definitely believe in sharing that message, that if we look after ourselves and the people around us, then why can't we be happy?
Yeah, I love that. And I'm a firm believer in that as well. I think that when we nourish our bodies, whether it be through yoga or through nutrition, but also when we nourish our minds, that's when we can really start living up to like a new level of joy and happiness. And one of the things that you do amazingly well is, like, you are such a huge encourager for other female-led businesses, which I love about you. And you share that in your blog.
Yes. So I have a blog. It's called Rebecca's Resolution. You can check it out. And Renata's featured on said blog. It's wonderful. Seriously, check that one out. And yeah, so my blog, I had quit a company that I had been working with. So I was an entrepreneur, but under an umbrella company. And I had stopped doing that. It didn't vibe with me anymore. It wasn't bringing me joy. And funnily enough, that was something that was really important to me. So when I decided that I was going to take this big step, first of all, I felt like it was a massive failure, because don't we all, when we give up something that's so important to us and we're like, is this the right decision? Oh, I don't know. And it's like, how do you know? Like, your gut knows, like, you do know. It's just hard. So it's okay. And then after that, I had this such a big amount of time open up to me, and I was like, what am I going to do? And when I was little, I was like, I always wanted to be an author. I always wanted to write things, and I had a million book ideas, and I went to this writing group and got some of them out, and I was like, I actually should share this with people, because through starting up what was my own business, I'd done a lot of personal development, so I kind of amalgamated the two, and I was like, I have a tool here that can really help people. Like, these are conversations I'm having all of the time, and they're around the areas of careers, yoga, mindset, and female entrepreneurship. And if these are conversations that I'm having and stories that I'm hearing, and they light me up and make me like, yes, bring it, life, I got you, then absolutely, why wouldn't I share them? So that's where the blog started. And it didn't start with a female entrepreneur angle. It started as just me sharing my word and what I thought about things and how I could help people. And then I realized that this life's not all about me. I don't know if anyone's told anyone else that, but it's not. And so many women that I was meeting had such amazing stories. And I was like, I wish there was just a place you could go to read about people's excellent, amazing life journeys and careers, something I'm really passionate about. So I was like, let's just ask them. And pretty much I have a template, and women absolutely do what they want with it. They send it back, we go over it together. I get to freaking learn about people and amazing things about them, and then we put it together and we share it with people on a Monday, and it's so amazing. And I think I'm just so passionate about that, because who doesn't love female energy?
Yes,
amazing. Shout out to the men as well, because we totally need you guys. And divine masculine energy, I'm all about that too, but divine feminine energy, that's what I meant when I was talking about stepping into connection with women. Wow, that's where I did a whole bunch of healing. So it's also an extension of freaking gratitude, and also knowing that everyone has a message and everyone deserves to be heard. Like everyone deserves that. So it's just my way of giving someone a platform to say, this is what I think. And I'm like their biggest cheerleader, because I'm like, yes to that. And yeah, that's what I absolutely love about the blog.
Your blog is incredible, and I'm so grateful to have been featured on it. So first of all, thank you for that.
Thank you for being on it.
And I love the fact too that you're like so welcoming to other female entrepreneurs. Like you really desire just to share their stories with the world. And just like you mentioned, it's the perfect platform for that. So maybe we'll include like your email in the show notes so that people can let you know, if they want to join.
Yeah, 100%. And also I think what's really important as well is this is something I was really, really passionate about, is I don't just want to share someone's story. I want to share how you can connect with that person. And just because like I'm trained as a yoga teacher, like just because I'm a yoga teacher doesn't mean I wouldn't feature a yoga teacher, as if like, I'm like, I don't live in this place of scarcity. Like I live in this place of complete abundance. And like, just because someone else does the same thing that I do, it doesn't mean they're going to come in and steal all my people. Like the world's not like that unless we live like that. So absolutely, like all of the females, all of the stories, share all of the stuff, and like including what promotions they've got going on, how they can help people, and how you can get in touch. Because I would feel like it was so like disingenuous to be like, oh, share your story but don't talk about what you do. Like
yeah,
no way. So yeah, that's something that I'm really, really passionate about when females share their stories with me specifically.
You're amazing. And I like when you said that you live in abundance, that is so you. Like you are just beaming with joy and happiness all the time, and you just love people. And I think that's what, like, I think that's why people just are magnetized to you, because they just want to be a part of that like awesomeness that you are.
Really nice. You didn't say you were going to make me cry, but I'm definitely getting there.
Okay, well, because you're such an incredible like beam of light for people, like you were telling me before we started recording, you really do live in this place of ultimate happiness. And so I'm curious, how can we all get a little bit closer to that level? What can we do on a daily basis to help us get to that ultimate happiness, joyful, like filled life?
The really simple answer is to give up all our excuses, accept responsibility for our actions, and be the person that we would want to meet on the street. Like, be the person that you want to be the person that you want to meet, be the friend that you want to be. If you want to be a better parent, be the better daughter or the better son. Like, just be that person that you would want to be. And we put so much in our way. Like, we put every excuse and every roadblock, and like it's like everyone thinks as well, like, it's harder for me because like I've got like 5 million children, or like I've got like this really intense job. Like, we all love to make it harder for ourselves, and the only person you're making that harder for is yourself. So like, if you're gonna put all the blocks in the way, then you're just gonna be blocked. Like, stop being a problem seer and start being a problem solver. Like, you are the solution to all of your problems. Like, know that you have the power and know that you have the energy, because there's no way that if I didn't believe those things, I could have healed from what I've healed from. So a little bit about my background. So I've healed myself from binge eating, depression, anxiety, stress, overworking, over-exercising, under-exercising, all of this like stuff that I used to say, like, I don't have the energy because actually I was fueling my body wrong. Like, I don't have all the money to do all the programs that I would want to do, because actually I was living in a place of complete scarcity. So we just need to know that if we are the problem, we're also the solution. So if you're putting up those barriers, then that's all you're going to see. So if you want to overcome them and come into happy land where like I live and everything's great and we party and we eat cake and stuff, then all you need to do is see your own BS and think, okay, how do I overcome that? Because you're capable. And it's that, I suppose actually the shorter answer to that is find yourself and your own self-love and your own center. And then from there, then the world becomes a better place. Because if I'm happy in here and I'm happy in here, then everything out here is so much easier. Like, I can have the most horrendous things told to me in a day and still I will be happy in like 2 seconds. I'll change my state, I'll dance it out, I'll take a breath, I'll believe I'm a freaking Spartan queen and be like, yeah, bring it on life. Like, whatever it is that makes you happy, do that. As long as you're not hurting anyone, do the thing that makes you happy.
That's incredible. You said so many golden nuggets, like, so good. But I
just word vomit. I can't help it.
Everything came out.
Yeah.
But I'm sure that life, I mean, just like you mentioned, you had a number of challenges.
Yes.
How did you make the decision to see that there was a new way of thinking? I'm sure that wasn't an easy thing to do. And I'm sure that there's a lot of people watching that are like, well, it's great to say that, but how do I actually do it?
Yeah. So there's a big difference between knowing something in our head and living something in our body. So I went through a whole ton of therapy. I just feel like I'm just telling you guys all my life, but I went through a whole ton of therapy, and they always used to say to me, like, you're not emotionally connected. Like, your head and your body, like, there's a disconnect here, because I was like feeling massive chronic pain and was like, oh, this is so hard. And then they would ask me how I felt about it, and I'd be like, no, it's fine. And like, some of the hardest things that have happened in my life, grief, abuse, horrible things that have happened, and I'm just like, no, just like keep calm, carry on. And I just like, but what I did was I just pushed all that stuff down. So for people that are in that boat of, well, maybe where I was, where they were pushing everything down and everything was hard, and it was like, oh, it's easy for you to say that, like, you're out the other end, but how do I get there? How you get there is you actually do the work. And like, there's so much out there, and a lot of it, this is where we get this knowing in the brain and then knowing in the body, is that you'll maybe read a book and you're like, oh, I get that makes sense. But then they've told you to do something in the book, like get up earlier and have a morning routine, and then in your heart you're like, oh yes, it's fine, but I can't really do that. And then you go to bed and you make the excuse that the next morning you're too tired, you've gone to bed late, you've not fueled your body, so you don't have the energy to get up, and it's a vicious cycle. So get out the vicious cycle, because the people that are teaching like personal development on a really high level, like, I so believe in personal development, like the people that are teaching at the top, trust me, because I've read freaking so many books. I might be 27. There's people that'll be listening to this that are like, that's just a baby. Like, no. But like, I've read a whole bunch of books. Like, I'm very dedicated to my study, and they're all saying the same thing. They're all saying the same thing. So if they're all saying the same thing and we are not doing it, it's just because someone's not said it in your way. Just find the person that says it your way and that cuts through your BS and that can actually get to what the root of the problem is. And the root of the problem is always that we're not taking responsibility for our own life, and that we know what the answers are. Like, when I was binge eating, I know the answer is to stop. Like, I knew that. I couldn't do it until I realized how important it was that I stopped. I realized I love myself, so I'm not going to binge on anything. I don't binge Netflix. I don't binge eat. I don't do that. And that's because that's my standard. That's where I hold myself to. That's my level. And I won't go back to that, because I created that standard for a reason. I don't break promises I make to myself. So it's all a self-love journey. So if you actually want to get from the place that I was, or the place that you're potentially, where things are hard and you're like looking at someone that's happy and you're like jealous. Like, I used to be the most jealous, judgmental person in the world. Dear Lord, trust me. And I'm not proud of it, but let's just be honest here. If you want to get from that place to like Happy Land, don't know why I'm calling it Happy Land. I feel like this is like an amusement park. It's like Disneyland. But like, if you want to get there, then just love yourself first. And do what the teachers say. Like, find someone that speaks your language, someone that vibes with you, where you see their journey and you think, if I could be in that person's shoes, and not from a place of like jealousy, in a place of, they're amazing and I'd love to be like that, I'd love to live in a state of happiness or joy, then do what they're telling you. Like, take on the teachings. Like, coaches have coaches for a reason, because like, we all need to learn from somewhere, and we all need someone that can pull us back. And it's so important to just listen to what you're being told and do the work.
I love that. I think too, what you're saying is make that commitment to yourself instead of like blaming outwardly, or like you mentioned, not taking responsibility. Come back to you, make that promise to yourself, whatever it might be, and follow through.
Mm-hmm. And it can be the simplest things to start with. It can be the simplest things. My personal development journey started, right, this is no word of a lie. I watched Tony Robbins' I Am Not Your Guru documentary on Netflix. I highly recommend. I freaking love him, right? He's excellent. But I watched that documentary, and from there I decided to stop binging Netflix TV shows, because the only reason I watched that documentary was because Pretty Little Liars had ended and I didn't know what to do with my life. I was like, oh my gosh, you know when you're so like invested in a TV show and it ends and you're like, oh my gosh, my whole life is just like gone, like what am I gonna do without worrying about A? Like, oh my gosh, so ridiculous. But when I look back, I'm like, Rebecca, come on. But I watched that documentary and I was like, I'm going to fuel my brain with documentaries instead of movies. That's how it started, and my whole life changed from that moment. I remember watching that documentary and saying like, this is where things have to change. And that's not, I've got tingles through my whole legs, but like, that's not to say that I didn't fall off the wagon, that things weren't hard, that I didn't go through periods where I was like super high and like on it, and then I was super low, because that used to be my like way of doing things. And I think a lot of people are on the roller coaster of life, right? But you can get off that roller coaster that sucks and jump onto the happy life one that's amazing if you just decide to start small. Don't set yourself unmanageable, unachievable goals. Like if you can't get up at 10 a.m, don't tell yourself that tomorrow you're going to wake up at 5 a.m. and cut a whole 5 hours out of your day when you already can't wake up at 10. Like, make it easy for yourself. If you feel like you want to give up if you want to go on a diet or like on a nutrition program, don't just cut a million things out to start with. Like, start small. Like, Renata's your girl for that, so I'm not going to school you guys on that one. But like, you know what I mean? Like, just start smaller. Don't think that you should be doing. No one should shoot on themselves ever. Don't shoot yourself, please, dear God. No one should ever feel like they have to do something because they think they should do it because someone else told them. As much as we can take guidance from the top, like I was saying, like if you're invested in personal development, like don't make it so that it's something you don't actually want to do. It's just because you should do it because someone said that it would be good. Like, try something, give your full heart to it, and if it doesn't vibe with you, stop doing it. But just like, don't shoot on yourself in the process. And now I've lost my train of thought because I love that conversation about shooting on yourself because we all do it all the time. But bringing it back, starting small, and just starting with things that are manageable instead of setting yourself unmanageable, unachievable goals that are just too much. Because no one achieves greatness from like having this, like no one has ever been like, this is the moment everything changed. I went from being like really sad, really upset to like high flying. Like, this journey's taken me 4 years at this point. Like, it's been a really long time to get to where I am, and it still is consistent daily work. Like, it doesn't happen overnight, so don't expect it to happen overnight. Just keep putting the work in the small manageable things. Now, I don't even think between choosing a documentary and a movie. I don't think between grabbing an apple over a chocolate bar. That's just like, you just create it as your standard, and your standard just keeps going up with you. And then as you start to nourish yourself, your self-love grows. Then your happiness grows.
That's amazing. I love that. So good. Okay, so we've talked about where you were to where you are now. So where do you see yourself going in the future?
I really believe that we can all be happy. And I think that's my message to share with the world. Like, I believe that we can be as happy in real life as we appear on our Instagram. And that's what I want to help reach, because that was certainly me. Like, I had a very like happy-go-lucky outward external attitude to everyone in person and on social media. Like, this is a family secret, but my whole family would like phone, and then every time my parents were asked how I was, they'd be like, Becky's fantastic. And it was like a family joke that like I was always amazing, like no matter at what point anyone asked. But like inside I wasn't. And I definitely believe that because I've done it, then I can help other people do it. And that's what I try to achieve through my social media, through my blog, is that we have the power to change that ourselves. We have the power to be happy.
That's incredible. I'm so excited because I know that there are some huge things coming down the pipeline for you, and I can't wait for you to share them with everyone.
Yes, I'm so excited.
Okay, so how can everyone connect with you?
So I'm on Instagram and Facebook as Rebecca's Resolution, and I have a website, www.rebeccasresolution.com, and you can subscribe, you can pop me a message, slide into the DMs, yo. On Instagram, I'm totally down for all of that, and that's how you can find me.
This was such an incredible conversation. Thank you so much for being here. You always lift my spirits. You make me feel like 1,000,000 times happier just being in your presence. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome. Thank you so much for having me.